works. Let's see what's going on. Check everything is working. Okay, are you not streaming? It says it's live. Okay, so how do you see what's live and what's not? Okay. Let's see what's going on. Ah, hello. Haha! It is working. Let's check the sound. Okay, sound is working. Good, good. Well, thank you for joining me this evening, you wonderful, wonderful people. Hopefully this stream will go slightly better than the LinkedIn one earlier, in which the software I was using kicked me out. But hey, I'll fall back on good old Facebook, because Facebook also records it, so all is well. And what I want to start with this evening is a quick little video. So I'm going to mute my audio and click play, and I will see you in about 3 minutes time. Enjoy.
You can think. That is huge. We assert there is one original formless substance from which all things are made. All the many forms found in organic and inorganic nature are only different shapes made from the same stuff. And this stuff is a thinking stuff. A thought held in it produces the form of the thought. The original thought of a moving universe first extended throughout the formless substance. The thinking stuff resulting from that thought took the form of systems of planets and continues to maintain that form. Thinking substance takes the form of its thought and moves according to the thought, holding the idea of a circling system of suns and worlds. It took the form of these bodies and moved them accordingly. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is the visible expression of a thought in the original substance. As it thinks of a form, it takes that form. As it thinks of a motion, it takes that motion. That is the way all things were created. We live in a thought world, and the world is a part of a thought universe. This is pretty simple. This is not rocket science. This is just pure life. I have said that an individual gets rich by doing things in a certain way. In order to do so, you must become able to think in a certain way. Your way of doing things is the direct result of the way you think about things. If you don't like what's happening in your life, change your thinking. It's not her, it's not him, it's not them, it's you. You are a thinking center. You're something unique in this whole planet that you're a part of, in the whole universe that you're a part of. You're a thinking center. There's power, there's spirit flowing to and through you, who can take this power that's flowing in and turn it into thoughts. Yet, bring the thoughts together and build ideas. That's what this seminar is. Have you any idea how many times I run these seminars when I was in the car all alone? If you are not satisfied with your life, if you are not making the progress that you want to make with your life, change it. Change it. You can think. That is huge.
I will unmute first. How did you enjoy that? It is such an awesome little video, and I watch it regularly because it reminds me that I have in my possession the single most powerful thing on this entire planet, and you have one too. It's called your mind. We are the only people that can control our mind. So I control my mind, you control your mind. The only way that you can say that anyone else has any control is if you let them. There's been examples all the way through human existence. Viktor Frankl, for example, a man who was in a concentration camp during the war, he decided that he would not let his captors get to him. So as far as he was concerned, every single meal he ate, or every time it was meal time, he would sit down, he would use his imagination, he would use his mind to imagine himself sat eating with his family. When he went to sleep, he was sleeping in his nice, comfortable bed at home. It didn't matter what was going on around him. He ignored the reality and lived out of his imagination. And that is something that we can all do, because we all have the power to think. But how? So I know many of you who have watched my things before or have seen anything from Bob Proctor will know this little drawing that I'm going to do for you now. So I'm just going to swap over to the display, which is not that one. Yes, it is that one. Click that button. Make me smaller. No, it's not that button. That one. There we go. It's all fun and games trying to work this stuff out, isn't it? So, anyway, yes, I'm trying to get to grips with lots of different types of software. Yes, trying to do a different one this time instead of the one that messed me around earlier. So, picture this, 1934, and there is a doctor by the name of Thurman Fleet who noticed that the healing arts, doctors, nurses, hospitals, all that sort of thing, we deal with the symptoms, the physical symptoms that we're presented with. But what he also noticed was that we never dealt with the actual cause. Okay, so obviously physical trauma, being hit by a bus or something like that, you could argue you can't cause in your mind, but you can. And it's also been proven the other way, where people have actually cured themselves of incurable terminal diseases by thinking themselves healthy. And he said it's because our mind is physically and spiritually and intellectually connected to our body. Our body is just a manifestation of what is going on in our mind. Okay, so, and he drew this little picture to show you, or to show the world, how this is connected. And humans think in pictures, so having a picture is really handy. And what he drew was this. You've got a big circle and a little circle, joined with a neck, arms and legs. Okay, oversimplified version of a human. The top circle is your mind, and the bottom circle is your body. Now, obviously, in real life, my head is not 3 times the size of my body. But our mind is that important and that all-controlling that actually it has more precedent than the body. Okay, so you have your mind, you have your body. Your body is simply the manifestation of what's going on up here. And your mind is split into 2. On the top half, you have the conscious mind. And the bottom half, you have the subconscious mind. And as I said, the bottom is the body. So your conscious mind is hooked up to the real world through your 5 senses. You can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Okay? And we have been conditioned, programmed, if you like, to see the world through our 5 senses. So if we're surrounded by poverty, we have a poverty consciousness. If we see bad things happening on the news, we believe the world is bad. It's the way we've been brought up, it's the way we've been conditioned. But we don't have to live like that anymore. We're not cave people anymore, living in caves or in trees or wherever it was that we used to live, with saber-toothed cats coming at us from all areas. We are pretty safe in the world that we live in now. So yes, we do need to be aware of our sensory inputs and see what's going on around us, but we can also consciously filter some of it out. And we subconsciously filter a lot of it out every single day. Because if we were to process all of the information coming into all of our senses at all times, we'd never leave bed. Because we'd be too busy trying to process how many fibres are in the carpet, how many sensory feelings you can get from the clothes that you're wearing, how many reflections there are off of a cupboard. Our brain or our mind automatically filters out a lot of what comes in through our senses because we simply cannot process all of it. We can, but we'd never leave bed because we just wouldn't have the energy to move, because thinking actually burns calories. So, you know, like when you go and attend a seminar or you do some training and at the end of it you feel really tired and you're like, but I've just sat there all day. You have, but the mind has been ticking over. Okay, so you've been burning calories just by thinking. You'll thank me later. Anyway, so your conscious mind is your educated mind. It's where all of the information that you've ever gathered sits. It's stored in the conscious mind. And you can relate it. There's 2 wonderful films that I know of that relate that and make it make sense. So kids version, you've got Inside Out, the one with the little girl Riley, and she's got her 5 senses in her head, and each night when she goes to sleep, all of the memories that she's created during the day are sent to storage. Okay, and they're all done through the emotions. So she's got sadness, joy, anger, fear, and disgust. And memories are tarnished with each of those emotions, depending on how she was feeling at the time, which is based on how she was thinking about what was going on at the time. And then they're stored in long-term or short-term memory. Another film that is a good way of looking at the conscious mind is Dreamcatcher, the Stephen King. So the book or the film. But in the film, Damian Lewis's character shows it brilliantly, where when he wants a piece of information that he's learnt, he literally focuses on going into this store cupboard that's in his mind and picking out a memory or some information from a set of filing cabinets. And he can lock himself away in there. And he can find all the information that he needs. And our minds are exactly the same as that. We're just not programmed to use them like that. So everything we've ever learned is still up there. You don't have to get rid of old memories to make space for new. There's an infinite amount. But we tell ourselves that. Okay? And also, as part of our educated mind, we've got 6 higher faculties. So I've already mentioned memory. We all have a perfect memory. We just constantly tell ourselves that we don't. Oh, I never remember people's names. I don't remember numbers. You can. It just takes practice. The mental faculties are like muscles, physical muscles. So unless you train them, they don't get bigger. Okay, so you've got memory. You've got your intuition that helps you to plug into other people. And they say that prayer is when you're talking to God or the higher being, the universe, spiritual, all of that sort of stuff. I'm not overly religious, but I do believe in like a higher thing, universal spirit, I call it. So when you pray, you're talking to that. And your intuition, those little voices that you get, that's the infinite talking back to you. Okay, so you've got memory, you've got intuition, you've got imagination. I've got an amazing clip to show you at the very, very end of this session this evening on imagination, because imagination is the key to unlocking your entire world. And I will go into that in just a little bit. Okay, so you've got imagination, you've got your willpower. It's what helps you to focus and to concentrate on the single thing that you're trying to do. Okay, you've also got perception, which is the way you see the world. So, for example, I can draw a number 6 on here, and I'll show you it on here. If I put it like this, so you're looking at it that way, and I'm looking at it from over here, you're seeing a 6, but I'm seeing a 9. We're both right, because it's a 6, and it's also a 9. But it depends from where you see it. And that's why when you are, or when there's been an accident or something, or the police are trying to take statements, they can have 50 different statements from 50 different people who all saw exactly the same thing, but because of their culture, their beliefs, their morals, their ideas in their head, in their mind, they will have seen it from a completely different direction. Okay, so the majority of our arguments are actually caused by misunderstandings, but it's not really a misunderstanding, it's just a perception. It's your perspective, it's how you've seen it from a different viewpoint. Okay, because none of us are like anybody else. We each have our own lives, we've each lived our own lives. So I can't see the world through your eyes, and you can't see the world through mine, because you're not me and I'm not you. Okay? So we've got the higher faculties. Oh, and the 6th one, reason. Our ability to reason. Well, if I do this, then this will happen, and this is the good and this is the bad, and we can go backwards and forwards and make decisions. No other creature is able to do that we know of. Not to the extent that we know it. Okay, so we've got our conscious mind, our educated mind. Our faculties are up there, our mental faculties, all 6 of them, and we've got our sensory inputs coming through. Okay, so we've got the educated mind. And it's the educated mind where we think. We create ideas, we look at the world, we process our sensory inputs, and we put labels on things. That's good, that's bad. Okay? Truth be told, everything is equally good and equally bad. It depends on how you decide to look at it. Okay? And whatever you're thinking then filters down into your subconscious mind. Now, most of us who don't know this, and I'm exactly the same up until about 2 years ago when I started studying this, anything we think just goes straight down. And we don't really put a block on our thoughts. Got money problems, need to pay the rent next month. Oh, where's the money going to come from? And we focus on the problem rather than the solution. So the feeling that comes from that thought is poverty. And it's not a very nice feeling. And it goes down into the subconscious mind, which is our emotional mind. And it means that we then feel that negativity because we can't not. Because that's what we're thinking. And the subconscious mind has no ability to accept or reject. It does as it's told. Conscious mind, you can accept or reject. You see something on the news that says the economy's gone to pot. Nah, I don't believe that. And you can kick it out. Subconscious takes whatever you give it. So if you create an imagination, a future memory of you in your dream house, and you focus on it long enough, your subconscious thinks that's true. And I'll discuss that again, like I said, more in a little bit. So you think with the conscious mind, you feel with the subconscious mind. The body then manifests that feeling, and you put yourself into either a good or a bad vibration based on how you are feeling. Okay? Ever notice when you're in a bad mood, everything seems to go wrong? You stub your toe, you get stuck in traffic, you spill your coffee, you smash a glass. Change how you're thinking, which will change how you're feeling. Okay? But whatever vibration the body is in, puts out your results. Those results go off into the universe, be they good or bad. Your actions, be they good or bad. And then the universe sends you the exact same thing back. So if you're putting out bad feelings, if you're having a really bad day, and you're putting out that vibration, it's coming straight back at you. Sorry. Nature can't cope with a vacuum. So whatever you send out, it will send back. So if you're ever in a really, really bad feeling state and you're not really sure what's going on, check what you're thinking and shift your thinking. Okay? Is at this point I want to share with you a little bit from an amazing book called Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And it's the chapter called Power of Assumption. Because when we think, we create the feelings, we create the vibration that creates the results. And it all stems from what we're thinking, but we're not taught how to think. We're told and we're taught how to obey and do as we're told, not how to think for ourselves. Okay, but Power of Awareness says this: man, as in humans, its chief delusion is their conviction that there are causes other than their own state of consciousness. We blame others. As the video said at the beginning, it's not them, it's not him, it's not her, it's you. It's how you're thinking about it. All that befalls a person, all that is done by him, all that comes from them, happens as a result of their state of consciousness. Thinking. A person's consciousness is all that they think and desire and love, all that they believe is true and consents to. That is why a change of consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, which is actually a quote from the Bible. And Neville explains it further. It says, to be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. But your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas. Great start attending this little webinar. For you think from your ideas. And ideas can be beliefs, morals, cultural, religious, school-based, work-based, friend-based, family-based. It's whatever it is that you're believing based on your experience of life so far. But all transformation begins with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. I've had enough of where I am right now. I want something different. And you really want it. The first step in the renewing of the mind is desire. You must want to be different before you can begin to change yourself. Then you must make your future dream a present fact. You do this by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. By desiring to be other than what you are, you can create an ideal of the person you want to be and assume that you are already that person. And how do you make that assumption? How do you build that future person? Imagination. This is a point that is truly understood by probably not more than one person in a million. And this book was written in the 50s. You know a thing mentally by looking at it from the outside, by comparing it with other things, by analysing it and defining it, whereas you can know a thing spiritually only by becoming it. You must be the thing itself and not merely talk about it or look at it. You must be like the moth in search of his idol, the flame. We all know that moths are attracted to bright lights, to fire. So just as the moth in their desire to know the flame was willing to destroy himself, so must you in becoming a new person be willing to die to your present self. So yes, the moth dies, physically dies, but what it's saying is that for us to become a new person, the new thing that we want to be, we first have to get rid of the old one. We evolve, we upgrade. You must be conscious of being healthy if you are to know what health is. As I said, there are people that have mentally cured themselves of cancer by believing that they are healthy and do not have any cancer cells in their body. You must be conscious of being secure if you are to know what security is. Therefore, to incarnate a new and greater value of yourself, you must assume that you already are what you want to be and then live by faith in this assumption. And it doesn't mean faith as in religious faith. It means a belief in something you can't see. Your imagination is the instrument, the means. Imagination is the only redemptive power in the universe. However, your nature, which is not our fault, is such that it is optional to you whether you remain in the present concept of yourself, a hungry being longing for freedom, health and security, or choose to become the instrument of your own redemption, imagining yourself as that which you want to be, and thereby satisfying your hunger and redeeming yourself. It's a choice. And it all starts with what you are thinking about. And it's at this point that I want to share with you another fact from a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And in there, he worked out, he was a plastic surgeon back in the 60s, and he worked out that we have an inner image as well as an outer image. And this inner image is driven by our experiences and things that have gone on. So as a plastic surgeon, he would operate on people, and he noticed that sometimes the person would come around, see their new, really rebuilt face and be a completely new person because they saw themselves as that. Whereas others still remain dark, dreary, hostile. Even though their features had changed, they still saw themselves with those disfigurations. And what he also worked out is that our mind is like a servo mechanism. And a servo mechanism is like a rocket or a missile or something like that. It's something that is just going in one direction with a goal, with a destination. And our mind is exactly the same. So if we don't consciously, with our conscious mind, give our subconscious mind, our paradigm, a goal to head for, like the destination on a sat-nav, it will choose its own based on what it receives from your thinking mind. But if you can think of a destination, you set things up for your subconscious mind to work on. So, for example, I want to go to Leeds, say. My mum lives up near Leeds. I put that in my sat-nav. My sat-nav knows where it is and where I want to go. It plots a couple of different routes. I pick one and off we go. At the end of the road, turn left. At the roundabout, turn right. Continue for 38 miles. Okay, I know roughly that I'm going to go up the A38, up the M5, and then it depends. I can either continue up the M5 to the M6 and the M42. I can cut across the M4 and go up the M1. I can cut completely cross country, which is my preferred option because motorways are boring. Sorry, freeways in America. Motorways over here. And as I'm travelling, the sat-nav is going to update me because it's plugged into the infinite, in its case the internet, and it's picking up traffic reports. So I could get as far as Bristol, and it will say, oh, there's a blockage ahead on the route that you've chosen to take, that you've asked me to take. It's going to take an extra half an hour, but I found a quicker way. Do you want to stay on the route you're on, or do you want to go on the quicker way? And then you make a decision. You're still heading towards Leeds, to your goal, but you've changed direction on the route based on information as you come across it. You don't return home and then start again on a new route. You make the decision where you're at. And your mind is exactly the same. You need to give it a destination, a goal. So I'm going to share with you now the first lesson from a training course that I facilitate called Thinking into Results. It's created by Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher at the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and it is globally acclaimed. It has helped millions of people across the world to work out what it is that they want and how to start getting to it. Okay, so with this program, you get a 200 odd page workbook, which is full of information that backs up the lessons and is also full of questions and activities for you to do as you study. Because this information isn't new. It's the same information that was written by Napoleon Hill back in the early 1900s. It's the same sort of information that Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Bob Proctor himself all share or shared. Zig Ziglar, all these big names. But the difference between a lot of the programs out there and Thinking into Results is that you get a qualified coach and a mentor to go along with you. So you're not in it on your own. It's not a self-study. You get a weekly meeting with a mentor. But the reason I want to show you lesson 1 today is because it's called a worthy goal or a worthy ideal. And it explains to you why you need to set the goal, how to set it, what is worthy of you, and how to get going. And I want to share that with you now, if I may. So it's about 15 minutes long. I'm just going to check that the sound is working. There's a little bit of lag because I'm watching the stream on my phone, so it's a little bit of a lag. So I just need to make me a little bit smaller. In fact, what I will do is turn me off. There we go. Okay, and I will see you on the other side.
The lesson that we're going to do right now could have a greater impact on your life than anything else. It certainly did on mine. You receive a little goal card. This is where you sit down and write out what you want on a card. And then you carry it loose in your purse or your pocket. Now on one side we've got here, change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice, and it is. Do you know that you could wander up and down the streets of any city, anywhere in the world, and ask one person after another, what is their goal? And they'll look at you, and odds are pretty good they'll say, what do you mean? And if by chance you find someone that has a clearly defined goal, ask if they've got it in writing. And again, odds are pretty good they won't. If you decide what you want, and you write it on the card, and you carry it with you, I guarantee you it must happen. It absolutely must happen in your life. Now, why do we have goals? See, the average individual would say we have a goal to get more. You know, get a better house, get a bigger house, get a boat, get more money. No. That may be a result of the goal. You may, accumulate more in your life and nicer and better things. But the real purpose of a goal is to grow. It causes you to draw something out of yourself that you didn't even know was there. Now, when we set a goal, we're going after something we want. And if you know how to reach it, it's the wrong goal. Now, that probably sounds pretty silly. When you set a goal, you're going after something you want. And if you know how to reach it, it's probably the wrong goal. You're going sideways. I always mention that goals fall into three categories. I refer to it as A, B, and C. A-type goals are doing something you already know how to do. And I use an example in a program that I wrote about a young man that came to me and he asked me if I'd talk to him about his goal. And I said, sure, what's your goal? He said, I want to get a new car. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, what kind of a car do you want? He said, a new Pontiac. I said, well, Pontiac's a nice car. I've had a Pontiac. And I said, what are you driving now? And he said, a Pontiac. Really? I said, how long have you had it? And he said, 4 years. I said, how old's the Pontiac? He said, 4 years old. And I said, then what you're telling me is that you have had a new Pontiac that you bought 4 years ago. You bought it new. He said, that's right. And I said, that's not a good goal, because you've known for 4 years how to do that. There's going to be no growth attached to it. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a new Pontiac, but it would not constitute a goal. A goal is something that you're going to go after you've never done before. Now, when people move away from A-type goals, they generally go to B-type goals. And that's where they sit down and they gather all the information they've got, all the resources they've got, and they say, if all these things happen, then I could accomplish this. And they make a plan. They've got an absolutely beautiful plan. They've got the plan, and if all these things happen, then I can accomplish this. This is what they think they can do. You see, the A-type is what they know they can do. B is what they think they can do. Now, do you know that there's no inspiration in going after something like that? Absolutely none. And if you're going to really accomplish something, you're going to have to be inspired. You're going to have to pull on something that you haven't pulled on before. I mean, it's going to have to come from inside. See, people go after B-type goals, they get going, and they get bored, they're not inspired, and so they quit, they give up. Now, the C-type goal is wants. And what you want, I'm talking about what you really want. Most people say, I don't know what I want. I don't believe that. I think you do know what you want. I think you're rejecting it before you give it any serious thought. To decide what you want, you've got to sit down and totally relax. And then you have to let your imagination wander. When you're going after wants, you're dealing with fantasy. See, the one, you're going after what you know. The other one, you're going after what you think you can do. And the wants is fantasy. Now, we have been conditioned as kids that fantasy is just for little kids. You don't fantasize. You've got to know how things are going to happen. But you see, you and I are the only creature on the planet, so far as we know, that can fantasize. Ed Hillary fantasized that he would stand on top of the world and he climbed Mount Everest. The Wright brothers, a couple of ordinary bicycle mechanics, they fantasized they'd introduce us to a new kingdom, and they did. Now think of this for a moment. What do you fantasize? See, as a little kid you could fantasize, and your mother and dad let you do that because it got you out from under their feet. You'd sit down in front of the kitchen cupboards with pots and pans, and God knows only what you did with it. But then you went to school. Bob, pay attention. You see, your mind's wandering. Will you quit looking out the window and listen to what I'm telling you? And you see, we'd get punished, and pretty soon we stopped fantasizing. We put our imagination away, and we stopped using it. Do you know, Napoleon Hill said the imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. Don't you find it strange that we have great, huge companies, big multinationals, with small creative departments? We have people wandering around and say, well, I'm not really creative. Writers are creative, musicians are, but I'm really not creative. Everyone is creative. Creativity comes from the root creator, which is within. Everybody's creative. It's a matter, are you expressing your creativity? Well, don't let people steal your dream. When you sit down and decide what you want, you won't know how you're going to get it. The fun is in finding out how you're going to do it. When I set a goal, if it doesn't sort of scare me, I know I'm on the wrong track. See, if you know how you do it, you're going to go sideways. You've got to build a fantasy. You take the fantasy and you move it from fantasy to a theory. You keep playing with it. And you go from fantasy to a theory. And you take and you build an image, and just follow the pyramid that we've got here for you. And you turn it into a theory. Now that is when we're giving our fantasy some serious consideration. We're starting to use our reasoning mind. And we're starting to give this some serious thought. Now, before we can turn the theory into a goal, we have to ask ourselves a couple of things. Am I able to do this? Am I able? Well, if we believe everything we've been taught by both science and theology, the only two sources of reference we have to go to, we have deep reservoirs of talent. We have infinite potential. Absolutely, I'm able. I don't know how, but I'm able. The second question we have to ask, am I willing? Am I willing to pay the price? Am I willing to do what I have to do to get to where I'm going? See, Ed Hillary had to go to Nepal in 1951, in 1952, and 1953. No one had ever been to the top of Mount Everest. Everyone in the world told him it couldn't be done. Anybody that tried died. But he kept going back. He was willing to do whatever was required, and he got to the top of that mountain. Have you any idea how those two young bicycle mechanics, the Wright brothers, were ridiculed? Told to quit wasting time? Have you any idea how many times people laughed at Edison when he said what he was going to do? He was going to make this incandescent light. Do you know he failed about 10,000 times? He was willing to do that. See, failing at something doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure when you stop. You could ask, am I able to do this? Yeah, I'm able. Am I willing? Yeah, I'm willing. I am willing to pay the price. At that second, your theory turns into a goal. Now, as you get emotionally involved in the goal, you're going to find that your emotional involvement is going to change your behavior. Yet you're going to find as your behavior changes, the results start to change. And your theory turns into a fact. And once you reach the goal, it turned into a fact. That puts you in a position to build bigger and better fantasies. Now, let's back up a bit. How do you decide what you want? See, that's a pretty big idea. You've got to sit down as an individual and start writing all your wants down. Make it a shopping list. See, I think there's two goals people should have. They should have a personal goal, and then they should have a corporate goal. You might want to sit down with your peers in your department and say, what could we accomplish in this department? It could be the sales department. It might be, as a group, collectively, take the sales to a point that would shock the executives in the company. It could be in the machine shop. Let's make this place the most effective machine shop in the world. It could be in the accounting department. Let's make sure everything's right on tap. They're goals. And as we work towards them, we unify our energies. We work together, but we're working towards a point. See, when people are working towards something, they're alive. If they're just working, they don't have any fun. So we've got to sit down and we've got to decide, what do I really want? And start to make a list. You're capable of doing anything. And what we're really doing is raising our level of conscious awareness. And you're going to find when you decide on the thing on the list that you want more than anything, that becomes the star you're shooting at. That's what's written on the card. That becomes the goal. It might be an income, it might be a position, it might be a new home, it might be a trip. That becomes the goal. Yeah, that's what you work towards. And you're forever trying to become more effective so you can raise your consciousness and you become aware of how to do it. It's the same in a department. We have a masterminding session, a brainstorming session. How can we make this department more effective than it is? Now, you're going to find possibly someone say, well, I'm not doing that. Well, then that's okay. They're not part of the group. Don't let another person dictate how you're going to live. Don't let conditions or circumstance dictate. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of you. It's what's going on inside. George Bernard Shaw said that people are always blaming circumstance for where they are. He said, I don't believe in circumstance. The people that get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. So you absolutely refuse to let anything that's going on outside stop you. Do you know, there's a cute story about the Maharishi and yoga when he was taking his transcendental meditation to the world, or planning to. Someone asked him, "Well, where's all the money going to come from?" He said, "Wherever it is right now." See, nothing's created or destroyed. If nothing's created or destroyed, everything's already here, if not in one state or another. The way to fly airplanes has always been here. Internet, it's always been here. We just weren't aware of how to do it. And as we raise our conscious awareness, we've got it. Nothing is created or destroyed. All science and all theology have taught us that for years. Now, when we really start to understand that, we live in an ocean of motion. We're living in a constant evolution of change. But remember when I said personal growth is a choice. You've got to have a goal. You've got to wake up in the morning and get excited. I'm working towards my goal. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm creating this program with you. I'm working towards a goal. I have a business partner, Sandy Gallagher. She wants to build this worldwide, the corporate division. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're working towards. That's why we're spending time here right now, building this program. So help you. See, the only way to reach the goal is to provide greater service. And as you provide greater service, you're going to grow. You're going to move ahead. Things inside of you are going to start to happen. An individual that doesn't have a goal is lost. They don't know where they're going. Can you imagine going on a trip and you don't know where you're going? Somebody say, well, where are you going to go? I don't know, west. Where? I mean, you could be going around the world and just going around the world and around the world. Well, where are you going? I'm going west. Well, when you get there, you still can go west. Imagine driving out of your driveway. You've got no destination. Which way would you turn? You see, we're goal-seeking organisms, every one of us. Have you ever watched a little baby? The baby's goal is to walk. It falls, it bangs its head, it cries, it bleeds, but it doesn't stay down. It gets up and it gets going. And pretty soon it's, look, Ma, I'm walking. Then they get on a bike. And the trick is to balance it, learn how to ride. Pretty soon it's, look, Ma, no hands. But you know what your goal is? Your goal, your real purpose in life is to grow. You want to sit down and ask yourself, what do you really love to do? That's what you're going to get good at. That's what your purpose is going to be all about. That's what your goal is all about. Move toward what you want. Have a personal goal, have a corporate goal. Now, your personal goal and your corporate goal in your department should be consistent with the corporate goal that the executive team set. So you want to make sure, as you go towards the big one, that all your little ones will fall into place. And I guarantee you, you'll set something on fire inside of you that there's nothing like it. Goal achievers are productive individuals. They're happy, they're productive, they're prosperous. They're the ones that make the world change. Don't listen to people that tell you why something can't be done. Don't listen to people that tell you the economy is controlling them. You control the economy. You're God's highest form of creation. Steve Bowe, who was a vice president with the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, said one time something that I have never forgot. He said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. I like that. You might want to take and memorize that. It's done me a lot of good. Now I've shared it with you. Set your goal. Get it on your card. Bury it in your mind. Tell yourself, I'm able and I'm willing, and then go and do it. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
I'd like to congratulate.
Love that video. Where's my video? There's it gone. Okay, so that is lesson 1 from Thinking into Results, and in the comments below I have put the link where you can go and watch it as many times as you please. It's the idea for this information is that it should be done on repeat. Okay, so the way that Thinking into Results works is that you study one lesson every day for 2 weeks before you move on to the next, and it's the repetition that really hammers it home, because every time you listen to it, you're a different person. So you will hear a different message, which I think is pretty cool, and I can attest to it being true as well. Okay, so ABC goals. A goal, something you've already done before. So for me, I can't set a goal of traveling all the way around the world because I've done it. At the time, I didn't realize that I was literally living this material, but I was completely ignorant of it. But everything that is taught within Thinking to Results and everything that I read in all of the books that I study at the moment, I did to put that round the world trip in place. Did we have the 12,000 that we needed to fly all the way around the world and visit all these different countries when we booked the first bit? Nope. Did the money just appear literally randomly twice as we were paying off the difference and the balance before we flew? Came out of nowhere from 2 places I wasn't expecting. And then it did it again when we got married. We needed the money, and poof, it appeared. So it comes from the most randomest of places that you could probably never predict. Okay, but the point is I can't set going around the world as my C-type goal because I've already done it. Okay, your B-type is, well, I can do this, I think I can do that if this and this and this and this and this happens. Because if this and this and this doesn't happen, you're going to lose motivation and you're not going to do it. So your C-type goal, it should absolutely excite you and also terrify you at the same time, because you know you want it, you can see yourself doing it, you've built the image in your imagination and you hold it every single day, but you've got no idea how. And that's the scary bit. That's where the paradigms all come in to try and kick you off track and say, well, why don't we just stay where we are? We don't need that. Well, we do, because we want it. Simple as. Okay? If you want to know any more about Thinking into Results, please just drop me a message and let's jump on a call. Okay? Let's work out where you are now and where you want to go, which are the only 2 things you need to know to change your entire life. Where you are now and where you want to go. Because you can't set a goal and work towards it if you don't know where you are now. The sat-nav doesn't work like that. It needs to know where it is. Okay, so where you are now, where you want to go, and then in that call, we can then start brainstorming some ideas of how to get you there. Thinking into Results happens when you're ready for it to happen. Okay, but these discovery calls, they're about half an hour, 45 minutes. We work out where you are, where you want to go. There's no judgment, there's no criticism. To be honest, most of the people I speak to, their goals are tiny in comparison. They feel really silly. Because, oh, I can't have that. Because that's how we're conditioned. We're told that we shouldn't really have or want for more than we already have. So we feel guilty to ask for it. But you shouldn't. If you live the most fulfilled life that you can live, it means that you can give back to the rest of the world. So surely that's a win-win. Okay? So we jump on a call, we work out where you are now, where you want to go, and how you get started. Okay? Now, I have one final video that I want to share with you this evening, which again is from Bob and the Proctor Gallagher, and it's about imagination. It's about 4 minutes long, and I will see you on the other side.
There is a place. Don't let it fade. When your mind goes there, make up your mind it's going to stay there because it is a place. I don't care what the thought is. Doesn't matter what the image is. If your mind can go there, you can physically go there. Let's understand, frequency is a level of vibration. Everything vibrates. It's moving. Now, it appears to be still. It isn't still. It's moving so fast it appears to be still. Every frequency is hooked up to the one above and the one below. There's no line of demarcation. Now, do you want to know what that means? You can go woo, like that onto a higher frequency. But you can also go woo, like that onto a lower frequency. Yet some people do that. But we think on frequencies. So we have to get that right in our mind. There's an energy flowing through our consciousness. We have what's called an inductive reasoning factor. That gives us the ability to you could pick up thoughts. There's actually thoughts floating around. Your thoughts, my thoughts, they're everywhere. Like if I have a thought, it's omnipresent. It's just as present in your mind as it is in mine. You may not be aware of it there, but so your inductive reasoning factor can choose a thought, or it can take this unadulterated creative power, pure spirit, and it can create a thought. You literally create a thought. And you put that thought with another thought, and another, and you got an idea. An idea is nothing but a thought or a collection of thoughts directed towards a purpose. So what we're doing is we're taking this power that's flowing through us, and we're using this higher faculty that we've got in creating thoughts. Now, that's the one point that all the great leaders have agreed on. They've disagreed on virtually everything else. We become what we think about. Yep, listen to the conversations of most people. A high percentage of the population are talking about what they don't want, what they hope doesn't happen. They never realize, and it's going to be obvious they don't realize this, that they are directing this magnificent power that's totally subjective. It has no ability to alter anything. You got the choice. But I'm going to tell you something. There's no shortage of good ideas flowing into your mind. There is no shortage. There's an abundance of them. While you're driving, while you're in the shower, while you're eating dinner, while you're talking to somebody, you take mental breaks. Everyone has these ideas. You have them flying on your mind, don't you? But we discard them as fast as they come. Why would we do that? Why wouldn't we keep them there and focus on them? Say, I can do that. I can do that. Why? Because we're ignorant. That's why. If you're observant, you're going to see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. Now, this is all our imagination at work. Imagination isn't something just kids play with until they get a little older. Imagination, he'll said, is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. You have one. It's one of your higher faculties. That was that sacred gift. Now, what I want to suggest you do is really let yourself relax and start to dream. But as you're doing it, also become aware of how your paradigm is going to fight you. This is where I am. I know how I got here. This is where I want to go. This is a place. If it's a place, don't let it die. Hold it. If it dies, bring it right back. Understand, it's a frequency.
How cool is that video? Absolutely love it. And my question to you, my closing question to you is, what frequency are you on? What are you thinking? Are you thinking about what it is that you want? Or are you thinking about what it is that you don't want, that you have right now, that you don't want anymore? Focus on where you want to go. Build the image. Focus on it daily. I do it every single day. As I'm closing my eyes to go to sleep, I go to sleep in my new bedroom of my dream house. And I wake up there as well. And all throughout the day, I'm moving around in that new environment. And I know the more I focus on it, the more I believe it's true, the more faith I have in it, the quicker it's coming my way. Because as I'm working towards it, it's working towards me. Because that's how it works. If you do want to know more, drop me a message. Let's get on a call. Let's work out where you are now, where you want to go. I will be restarting Thinking into Results on the 3rd of January, and I would love to take you along with me because I've been through it twice. Yep, twice now. Twice fully. And once where I was in and out. And I'm going through it again. 6 months will change your life. Thank you for watching this evening. Thank you for being here. I will get this replay up and ready as soon as up on YouTube. As I said, the link in the comments below is your link to rewatch lesson 1 and also to download the workbook. So have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are, be it live, on the replay, morning, noon, night, wherever you are. Thank you again and have a great rest of your day. Bye.